They were different than most people's vows, like the part where they said they would leave up to God the amount of children he wanted to give them. That was something that you usually don't hear at a wedding.
The loyalty song is actually meant to teach young children the character quality of loyalty in their life. But I thought, what a greater example of loyalty than marriage. That's where I really felt like that song really displayed my emotions and my feelings for Anna. And I thought, what a special way to emphasize that.
Things may seem hopeless, but
It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm a dinosaur. Oh wait, no, I'm not. It's April Fool's. Haha. I'm not good with April Fool's jokes. I'm not much of a prankster. Are you a prankster? Do you like to do April Fool's on your friends, family, everyone? Tell me. I'm not. I don't do that stuff. Anyways, yesterday there was no videos because of stuff going on at my house. I put a post in my community tab just to give you sort of an update about what's going on, but hopefully things will get better soon. Right now, I'm here to talk with you about more insider information coming out about the Duggars. So we are in a situation right now, we're in a waiting game. We've got 2 months until the Duggars actually find out the fate of their golden boy, Josh Duggar. Josh is currently sitting inside a very small room, and he is by himself, and he's been there since December, and that's that. We haven't seen him or heard his voice in months. Not too shabby. So we know that there's some questionable business dealings happening behind the scenes, and we know that Anna could eventually be held out to dry if this goes further than what's currently in the court. Going all the way back to the beginning when Josh Duggar was doing really not so good things to his sisters, there was a lot of questions from many people about what the Duggars were telling their friends. During the trial, I did tell you, and leading up to the trial, that there was a lot of friends that knew about the situation and others that did not. There were people that were very privy to extensive details about what was going on, and then there were others that the Duggars were very elusive with. And it depended on how close you were to the family and when you came into their sort of orbit. Those that were around during the time that Josh got caught, their closest friends were aware of what was going on, though some details were kind of left on the table and on the floor. They didn't tell people specifically what happened, but there was other friends that were sort of left completely blindsided. So Bowman Fedowski, who happens to be Teresa Fedowski's daughter or son. So Bowman's mom is the midwife that was working with Jill and was the midwife for Jessa during her pregnancies. She has had some issues with her midwifery and was a doula for a period of time. That's a story for another day. But he said that Josh wasn't sent away more. Josh was sent away more than once. In fact, he says that Josh was sent away at least 3 times that he can recall when he was a child. So Bowman is a bit younger than Josh. So he was around 7 or 8 when they met the Duggars. And he said that when they first met them, Josh was not around at all. So he said, when we first met the Duggars, I think I was 8, maybe 7. Josh wasn't there. I think that was probably the first time he had gotten sent away. There was a month-long period where we were hanging out with the Duggars and hadn't met Josh yet. Just heard about him. And then there were all these different weird things that happened throughout the years. So the first time that he was sent away, now Distractify says that he was sent to Alert Academy. He did not actually attend Alert Academy. Josh was sent to the Indianapolis Training Center. That is where he went for that month-long stay back in whatever year that was that he said. So, but Josh was never a cadet of the Alert Academy, as far as I was told by family sources. So anyways, they said that the weird things that were happening led Josh to being sent away around 3 separate times, and he believes more people knew about his behavior than was let on publicly. And this is actually true. I spoke with multiple sources at the time of the trial who did say that there was multiple families who were well aware of what was going on, specifically the families that were involved in their church. And Bobby Holt testified at court that she knew that she counseled Josh quite a bit, that Josh was at her house and made some confessions to her. There were other church elders that knew about it. There was people at church that knew about it. So this was not a huge secret, but they also kept some of the details private. They said, in terms of like what the Duggars said, he said growing up, they never talked about it. I mean, it was always kind of hush hush. And there were some people who knew about it the whole time. He said, I mean, it was always kind of hush hush. And there were some people that knew about it the whole time. I think my parents knew about it. Again, some people were told, others were not told. So the Duggars were very, I think, discriminate about who knew the details. And there's always been speculation that, Anna said that she knew everything about what Josh had done. But I spoke with someone who said that's not true and that they sort of minimized what had happened. Because even Jim Bob minimized when he spoke to Megyn Kelly about what happened. And he said that Josh was just curious about girls and had just touched them over their clothes while they were sleeping, which isn't actually what happened and wasn't what was testified about in court, nor what was reported to the police back in 2006. When the Duggars explained why he was away, they would always say that they were struggling. Josh was struggling. So he says that each time Josh was sent away for his behavior or for the thoughts that he admitted to, those in the Duggars' inner circle would be told that Josh was struggling. But according to Bowman, Jim Bob and Michelle were always vague about why they'd sent Josh away. So he's sent away multiple times because he's struggling, but isn't telling people why he's being sent away. They were vaguely telling people about what was happening. Is anyone surprised about that at all? So if you are new to my channel, or if you haven't followed before, or if you're not new and you know the whole story, you know that I spoke to multiple people that knew the Duggars, and there's plenty of people that have spoken publicly out about this, where even like his own sister and his aunt and his niece have said publicly that the Duggars misled them about what Josh was doing. They had no clue. They found out with the public. There was a source that I said that they knew about it, but the Duggars were misleading other people like Anna. They misled the Holts before he got involved with Kaylee. There was a lot of misdirection, and attempts to get him help were sort of scoffed at by Jim Bob. So looking forward, could they have anticipated that this was going to happen? Probably so. In fact, someone told me this, and I'm going to give you some tea here. I don't think I've even reported this. So multiple sources have told me that back around 2004, maybe 5, Jim Bob had met with some of the church elders, and they actually consulted Michael Pearl. Yes, the Michael Pearl from Training Up the Child, or To Train Up a Child, and Debbie Pearl's like Help Meet book. The Pearls. I mean, does it really have to say anything more than that? And apparently, Michael Pearl had told them that until Josh was an adult, there would be no way to know whether or not he actually had an attraction to kids, because that if it were a true attraction, they can't actually fix that, and they're not like reformable. And so they would likely find out in like his 30s. So until then, they didn't feel like there was much they could do to help him, because he would make himself known in his 30s. That's what the sources said. Everyone agreed that what he was doing was wrong, but they all seemed to believe that with guidance from God and more prayer and some biblical obedience and discipline, he would somehow snap out of it. And if he couldn't snap out of it, it would just be because he can't, because it's just who he is, right? So people were giving the Duggars advice. Others were telling them they needed to file reports with the police. Bobby Holt testified about a letter that was written by her daughter, and in that, her daughter had been told about what Josh had been doing, and then a friend had found that and then confronted Jim Bob. You know, there's always been a lot of circulating rumors about how this was withheld from the public for so long. It took a 2015 release of police records by In Touch magazine to put this out towards the public, which in truth, the release of those records should have never been made public, because they were released illegally. I mean, even a judge in Arkansas in Arkansas court, in federal court, agrees with that. Unfortunately, the girls were unable to sue the city because of the immunity of the people that work there, and they didn't do so maliciously. They actually believed that they could release those records. Had that request not been made and those records not be released, we may have never known. Can you actually fathom like getting to this point in 2022? And when he was arrested, it was almost a year ago. Can you believe that? It was April 28th, 2021 when he was arrested. So imagine if we hadn't found out in 2015 about what he had done. Imagine if we got to 2021 and suddenly there was this arrest. Imagine how shocking that would have been, because there would have been nothing leading up to it that would have made us suspect that anything was wrong. I mean, I guess there was the Ashley Madison stuff that came out, but that actually came out after the In Touch article. So imagine only the Ashley Madison stuff came out and we only knew about the infidelity and we had no clue about what happened to the minors that Josh did that to. That would have been even more shocking. And had the Duggars had their way, no one would have ever known at all. And the public could have been bamboozled for 20 years instead of, 15 years. And then they got rid of Josh, and now the Duggars are no longer on TV. So we don't really get to see them showing us how perfect they are. And all the while that this is happening, mind you, Josh is on TV and he is being applauded as like the golden boy and the big brother that's constantly doing the right things. And he's placed in a position of the moral authority. And then he goes on and joins, lobbying groups that try to dictate women's reproductive systems, and he lobbies against marriages, LGBTQ plus marriages, and he goes on to like promote family values when he didn't even have any of his own family values, right? So anyways, that's what he had to say about what they knew and what they didn't know, and if they could have foreseen this criminal investigation. And as I've told you in the past, Jim Bob lied to people during the process. Multiple sources alleged that he had lied about the details of the investigation. He said there was no investigation. He said it was not what you thought it was, that no one was under investigation. No one had an inkling. And then once he was arrested, the lie was that it was someone else, or he was set up, or it was Biden, or it was Trump. It was always somebody else but Josh. And now here we are today, still waiting for him to be sentenced, and he's still blaming Caleb Williams. It's pretty gross. So are you surprised at all with Bowman's revelations about Josh and Jim Bob and Michelle? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Bye, guys.